Good evening. Welcome to another episode of ParentTown TV. Today we have live with us Shanti Chainani from Royal Academy, and we're going to be talking about a topic that's very interesting. It's called positive parenting. So we're going to be trying to find out what is positive parenting and how you can become a more positive parent. So Shanti,
Yes.
tell me about yourself. So do you have children?
Yes, I have two boys, 30 years old and 27 years old.
Oh wow, they're nearly my age. So what's it been like? So have you always had the same type of parenting philosophy throughout their last 30 years?
You see, whatever parenting techniques that I learned came from my own parents.
Okay.
And my parents were very conservative, very strict. You know, they used to beat me and scold me and yell at me because they were brought up that way according to their parents.
So were you that sort of parent as well?
Yes, I was that sort of a parent. You know, two boys, they'll be fighting and breaking things in the house. So I used to sometimes yell at them, shout at them, study, do your work, do this. And then it was only much later that I came across the subconscious mind, and being a hypnotherapist, I now understand the power of words that have an effect on the child's subconscious mind. And I came across the Goulding SleepTalk process, where I learned that in the first 7 years of a child's life, the child is forming self-beliefs about the child, about the world around the child. And it forms this from the parents, of course. So the words that the parents use to speak to their child have such a powerful impact on the child in the first 7 years of the child's life, and they're forming beliefs about themselves.
So why did you stumble upon this whole theory? I mean, were you seeking it?
Actually, I was looking for ways to help myself because I had a lot of anxiety issues, migraine headaches, and I was looking for solutions for myself. And I came across a book, The Power of the Subconscious Mind. And they say, look into the subconscious mind and you'll find the solutions. So I went on to study hypnotherapy and to understand the language of the subconscious mind. So now I'm able to communicate with the subconscious mind of my clients when they come in to see me. And
So do you hypnotize the people who come in to see you, or
are
are you hypnotizing me right now?
The truth is that 95% of the time we are already in hypnosis and we don't even know it. Do you drive?
Yeah, I do.
Yes. Sometimes when you drive, your conscious mind just drifts away thinking about other things, but you still reach your destination safe. And do you wonder, how did you get here? Did I pass through that street? Did I pass through that signal?
It's auto-tuned.
Yeah, so that's the automatic mind, which is the subconscious mind. It runs on programs. It doesn't know what's right, what is wrong, whatever has been programmed into the subconscious mind, it just follows that.
Okay, so what exactly is positive parenting?
Now, positive parenting, I need to tell the parents that the first 7 years of a child's life are really crucial. They are forming beliefs about themselves from watching the parents, from seeing what the parents are telling them. So the primary influence of a child's life are the parents. And supposing as a child is growing up and the parents start saying negative words to the child, why are you so stupid? Why are you so clumsy? You know, and you are so useless. You can't do simple things. And so when all these words are spoken to a child, the child's mind absorbs everything into the subconscious mind and it starts to form beliefs.
But this is very contrary to Asian philosophy.
Yes.
So one of the things that the Chinese culture, a lot of people in the Chinese culture practice is to say something negative about your child, because if you say something negative about your child, the opposite will happen. So when a baby is born, a grandma might say, wow, you're so ugly. Oh, wow, your skin is so dark. Hoping that, in fact, the opposite would happen and the baby would grow up to be fair and beautiful. So
yeah, so this is the shift that I need to bring into the mind of the parents. That whatever you say, the child's subconscious mind is downloading everything. Everything the child sees, hears, tastes, smells, It's a direct link into the subconscious mind, as the child is vulnerable and it believes everything you say. So if you tell a child, the child is ugly, the child is dark, that's the belief that the child starts to form, that there's something wrong with me. I'm not okay. I'm not lovable. And I'm not worthy. So they start to form the beliefs. And the thing is that these beliefs remain within the child's mind even when they become adults for the rest of their lives. So when adults come to me, I need to change the beliefs that were formed in childhood. So with the process, which is called the Goulding SleepTalk process, parents have an opportunity to speak to the child's subconscious mind every night when the child goes to sleep and put in positive messages into the child's mind.
Can you give me an example of what would be considered a positive message?
Okay, positive message would be mommy loves you, daddy loves you. If the child has siblings, the brother loves you.
So if you say a lot of negative things and you say a lot of positive things, are you kind of sort of balancing yourself out?
So if the child has already taken in a lot of negatives from school, from friends, or even when parents, because parents are human beings, sometimes they may say things that they don't mean. So with this Goulding process, when the child sleeps, the parents are able to say the positive words and neutralize that negative that the child's mind has already accepted. And eventually it starts to neutralize and the positives will start to dominate. And the child feels, I'm loved, I'm lovable. And one of the message in the script is, today is a happy day.
Today is a happy day.
So every morning as the child wakes up, today is a happy day. And the child feels loved and lovable. Now when the child feels loved and lovable, it is able to reach up to its full potential, because it knows that there are two people in the world that love him unconditionally, that believe in him, no matter what. Others may criticize him or judge him, but there are two people there who truly believe and can give him that unconditional love.
So once you started practicing positive parenting on your own children,
Yes.
Did you see a marked difference in their behavior?
Yes, definitely. Although they were not young children anymore, they were in their 20s, I did see a major difference.
Okay,
Because
interesting.
the younger child that was a little bit aggressive. So I didn't know how to help the child. So when I learned this process and I keep saying the words, of course the first time when I told them this, they looked at me like, Mom, are you okay? What's this you're telling us, you know? And then as I kept saying the messages, and they'll come to me and tell me that, Mom, you haven't told us today that Mommy loves you and Daddy loves you and brother loves you.
That's
and
wonderful.
that today is a happy day. So I could see the change, but this process works very well for young children, because the parents can enter the child's room after the child goes to sleep and put in the positive messages in the child's mind from the ages of 18 months to 13 years. As the child is forming positive beliefs, the child will build a resiliency within them, mental resiliency. It's kind of giving vitamins for the mind, as the founder Joane Goulding calls it, giving emotional hugs to your children. Because when they are asleep, they cannot reject what you're saying. Because if the child already believes that no, Mom doesn't love me, Dad doesn't love me, so when this process is carried out after the child goes to sleep and the messages go directly into the subconscious mind, the child can't reject those messages.
How do you apply positive parenting techniques when your child has done something wrong?
Yes, this is a good question. So in this case, it's not the child that we need to discipline. We have to separate the behavior from the child. So to the child, we love you unconditionally. Now let's look at the behavior. Why did the child do this behavior? Because all behaviors are actually symptoms. The root cause is deep within the subconscious mind. The child may be acting out of fear or out of stress. So that's where we need to look at the root cause. And with the Goulding process, we can address the root cause by giving positive messages to the child's subconscious mind. So if it's fear-based behavior that will be, I would say, neutralized by the positive messages that the parents are giving to the child.
Okay. Is reward and punishment counted as positive parenting? What about using things like timeout?
First of all, again, we need to tell the child that no matter what, they are unconditionally loved.
Mm-hmm.
And then separate the behavior. And then we set boundaries and rules. Just like in Singapore, we have rules. We do not throw litter anywhere
Mm-hmm.
because we want to keep our country clean. And they want us to have a wonderful, clean country. So just like that, we have rules because we love the children and we care for them.
Okay. So, it's nice and dandy when you're doing it at home, but our child is exposed to a lot of other people, like
Yes.
teachers and classmates. So if a child is being bullied in school, how do they actually, deal with them politely and also try to not be affected by those negative?
Okay, so if a child is being bullied in school, if the child has the mental resiliency and the belief that, okay, I need to tell this to an adult and not be afraid. So that's where the child can communicate with the adult and then let the adult seek the action that would be necessary to see why is the child being bullied and to find out the reasons. Because usually bullying is when the bully always have some fear issue and insecurity issue. So that's why they bully someone else.
To get to the root cause.
Get to the root cause always.
Okay. And what's the link between reverse psychology and positive parenting?
Positive parenting is, as parents, when you give love to the child, you are giving them unconditional love and giving them positive messages. And I would say that reverse psychology, we don't want to confuse the child's little mind because the child believes everything you tell the child. So just be authentic and truthful with the child and give them that love that they need.
How do you manage being partial to siblings in certain situations? How does it affect the kid's psychology?
Now, this is a good question now. It is very important that parents realize that they need to be fair to all the children.
Oh, every parent has a favorite.
Yes.
Do you agree?
Yes, I agree. But parents need to be aware that this does affect the child because the child feels unloved, the child feels rejected, the child feels that maybe I'm not as lovable as my sister or my brother. That's why mom gives more love to her. It does affect the child. And I would suggest to parents that if you need to spend more time with one child, explain to the other child why you need to spend more time with the other child and tell them that, look, mommy loves you unconditionally. But right now, at this moment, I need to spend with this person,
sibling.
With their sibling.
Okay. Can you reverse the damage done if you've unknowingly practiced negative parenting for years?
Yes. It depends how many years has gone by because the more years, the more beliefs a child forms within their mind. So if the child is still young, 2 years, 3 years, and with this SleepTalk Goulding process, they can neutralize the negatives and put in the positive. But for an older child, it may take longer, maybe 3 months or 4 months, to repeatedly put the positive messages into the child's mind and give them that self-belief that no matter what, they are loved and they are lovable, and today is a happy day. Imagine growing up with that belief, deep-rooted default belief that no matter what, today is a happy day. And these beliefs remain with us throughout our life.
I would just think that Asia must be a very damaged continent because we all grew up with the fact that our parents were the complete opposite of this.
Yes, so that's why we need to change our mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because children need that love and attention and that security and that nurturing from the parents, which they can get it at home. So the home should be a place of love, nurturing, caring, and giving hugs and love to the children.
Okay. We've got For which aspect does positive parenting display its advantage? Is it for emotional quotient or is it for social quotient? And does it actually benefit the bond between parent and child?
Yes, it does benefit the bond between the parent and child because you're building up that trust, that connection with the child. So, giving messages that the child is loved and is unconditionally loved, you're, you're strengthening that bond of love between the parents and that child. And the child becomes more confident, it builds up the self esteem in the child, and the child is able to go out and be more sociable and develop behaviors that are healthy for the child.
Is there a chance that you could be making your child too positive? That they're living in la la land and not reality?
Okay, so that's a good question. Now, as adults, when we are exposed to challenging situation, what helps us most? A positive attitude or a negative attitude?
Mostly it's positive attitude.
Yeah, so with a positive attitude, you are able to deal with life challenges, whatever life throws at your path. So there is there is only benefits of giving that positive messages to the child. As I said, we have to always separate the child from their behavior. We set boundaries and rules and routines that these behaviors are acceptable, these behaviors are not acceptable, and we explain why, the consequences of their behaviors. But as a child, we love them unconditionally.
Okay, we've got the last question here. It's about is compassionate parenting similar to positive parenting?
Compassionate parenting is similar to positive parenting because you're giving that love and compassion to that child, giving that time and attention to that child. And positive parenting, it also plays a big role for the parents to be positive, to show positive behaviors to their children. If a mom is coming home angry and upset, the moment the child says or does something, she's going to snap at the child. So the mom has to really consider the consequences of her words and what she tells her child in anger, because every word that she tells the child is going to remain in the child's mind for the rest of the child's life.
Thank you, Shanti, for joining us here tonight. Do you have any last advice for our parents tuning in?
Yes, I just want to tell the parents that children are vulnerable. They believe everything you say. Their hearts are tender. Their minds are vulnerable. Please speak to them in positive languages. Every harsh words that you tell them, it hurts them and it remains in their minds for the rest of their lives. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And thank you, parents, for joining us for tonight's episode of ParentTown. Good night.